questions at any time during this talk, I'm more than happy to entertain them right in the moment. No doubt somebody else has the same question you do. I might have the same question, so please feel free to jump right on in. This is very new stuff, so it's new to everybody, and we're happy to help in any way we can. Also, I will be inviting Joe Paggiano from SNAMI to give us a little customer testimonial a little bit later in the talk. Joe is sitting apprehensively at the table. We did not prep him whatsoever for what he's about to say. I have no idea what he's going to say. I'm hoping it's good, but he's got that smile on his face. It could go either way right now. In terms of the services that Expo Logic offers in the sphere of netFORUM integration, the ones that we're going to be talking about today are Badge on Demand and Express Pass. I know the title of the session is about registration, and to that extent, the beauty of Badge on Demand is that we don't really care how you do your conference registration. If you have a third-party vendor handling the outside registration for you, as long as the data gets back into netFORUM, the Badge on Demand solution is going to be awesome for you. If you choose to use eWeb for conference registration as well, obviously the data is already there, so we're good to go. Express Pass, if you're not familiar with the term, is the system that you used when you showed up at the conference yesterday or today. You got the pre-emailed version of your barcode, so you walked up to a little touch screen out there in the lobby, scanned that, got your badge, got your lanyard, everything like that. I'm sure you saw and appreciated just how easy that system was to use and easy to interact with. Also the fact that there was practically no wait to get checked into the conference. So we're going to talk a little bit about how that works in partnership with Badge on Demand to reduce the lines of check-in and save you a lot of work when it comes time to have your conference. You'll also notice in these slightly dimmer bubbles are other services that we offer. Clipboard for conference trade show logistics management. That's managing the number of chairs, tables, microphones, and similar collateral in the room in order for a conference to come off successfully. That system is accessible by you, your staff, and all of your vendors. CEU and CME management, many of us are familiar with the concept. Expo Logic can handle just about any situation you can throw at us, regardless of your certification rules, when people get their certificates, whether you need door scans and things of that nature. Speak is our speaker management system that I'll be speaking on tomorrow afternoon, collecting all the things that you need from speakers like myself who decided not to send things in on time. Everybody knows that getting those presentation decks and headshots and bios for all of your speakers is a real pain. Speak makes it a lot easier to collect all that online and know in real time what the status is for all of your speakers getting their stuff in. And the key, these little devices that we've probably been waving in your face to scan your barcodes, all the exhibitors in the hall are walking around with these too. You've seen just how easy it is to capture a lead with that and qualify it and have that information available at your shows. We're more than happy to talk to you about that service later. Enough with the front matter. You're here to hear about registration and Badge on Demand. Badge on Demand gives you the ability to print your badges directly out of iWeb, which is a surprisingly novel concept. We're able to collect our registration information however we wish and manage those registrations directly in netFORUM, which is the ideal place to do it, both from managing your membership requirements, managing your pricing rules, and everything of that nature. Having all that, including the ability to print a badge for somebody right in the same space, is quite useful. The implementation and integration process is really simple. We've already rolled this out for about half a dozen clients using netFORUM Enterprise, and we plan on launching the Team and Pro edition of it by April 1st. All you need to do to implement it, two things. One is adding that one line of code to netFORUM and to render that print a badge button directly in iWeb. The other piece goes in the confirmation email to render that quick scan check-in barcode that you used when you showed up at Express Pass. Just to show you a little bit about what that button might look like, just in case my connection goes down here. Those of you who are familiar with iWeb are familiar with this interface that probably lacks that button. All we do is drop that button in there, and clicking on that will call our system. Badge on Demand will make a real-time call to netFORUM using XWeb and web services to go and retrieve the badge and ticket information for each registrant and render a nice laid-out badge in accordance with your requirements, including a barcode that can then be used to check people into the show, scan them at the doors for door access, and also use them for lead retrieval purposes. It's pretty much never been easier to get a barcode out of this. Those of you who are doing it without an electronic method are probably having to export all of your registrants into Excel and do a nice mail merge and some nice Avery template. That's about 4 hoops too many. With the Badge on Demand service, you plug it in, you've got your button, and you're registration and hit that print badge button, what shows up on that badge will be the proper and correct information, including the person's name, the type of registration they have, and any additional sessions that you might have registered for as well. We have a short video showing you what the process is like. Again, you did kind of go through a lot of this already from the outside experience for participating in AUDC. Come on, YouTube, don't let me turn out. So you're probably familiar with the email confirmation that you got. We also make it easy for you to get a mobile version of that confirmation. Our scanners work very well against a mobile barcode. This is the screen that you saw when you showed up at the Express Pass station. You can use the lookup if you don't have your confirmation email on you, printed out, or even on your phone. If you have it, hold up to the scanner and you're good to go. And this video is stalling on me. Okay. It really is that quick, just a matter of seconds if you show up prepared with your piece of paper, in and out, and you're done. If you don't have your paper, you can use the use lookup button and enter a couple characters for your name. I believe the next example we have here will do that for us. But we'll show the same shot of somebody getting their tickets right off the machine too, because, just to be consistent about it. This lookup feature goes, again, directly against netFORUM in real time. I can't stress enough how much we've simplified this process in that we don't need to synchronize any information with netFORUM. There's no delay in the information, and there's absolutely no delay in us writing back the fact that somebody has checked in the conference. So the moment their badges are printed, we're writing back the badge print date into netFORUM so that your reports that you have directly in iWeb will show that this many people have checked in and these people have not yet. Here's a gentleman holding his phone up to the scanner, and it acquired just like that, just a second or two, and they're walking away. We've run some stats on it. We just had a conference last month that had probably about 9,000 attendees. At its very peak, we were processing 500 to 600 people per check-in station during that key hour. So think about how many people you can get through your lines really fast without having to hand out separate packets or anything like that. They hold up their confirmation and you get it.
So how many check-out stations did you have?
For that conference, we had 7 stations set up. We also give you an interface if you choose to not have iWeb open. You also are naturally going to need to reprint badges for people because they either lose them or they don't get them for whatever reason. We give you an admin interface that's separate from iWeb. You can go and do the same process, log into it, do a search on a name, click on that, you'll get the pop-up that shows you exactly how many times that badge and any associated tickets have been printed, so that you're only reprinting people who haven't really been trying to rip you off by getting their badge printed 12 times and handing them out to their friends. Also, it wouldn't be terribly effective given that that would throw off any of the leads that your exhibitors would get, which is a relatively important thing to get right. We go through extreme pains to make sure that the data that we pull out of netFORUM for each one of your attendees has a unique key on it so that the exhibitor data is correct and proper so nobody loses any leads that they might have wanted or expected. Yes, we can rent you the printers, or you can purchase them outright for use at your conferences. The printers that we use are high-speed thermal transfer printers that work with badge stock, standard 3x4. Actually, look down at your badge and look back up at me. Your badge again. Look how good that badge is. Now you go back at me and smile a little bit. Okay? This is basically what your badges would look like, plus or minus whatever customizations you might need for it. Nice big first name. Whatever you need there, this was pulled, can be pulled directly out of netFORUM and rendered on it. But again, back to the printer question. Our printers are designed for this 3x4 badge stock. We do all the configuration of the printer drivers and everything else so that it consistently renders no matter how many thousands of print jobs you send through it. Yes, ma'am?
Sometimes we print tickets for dinners or spouse events. Can you do that in here as well? Would that print out, or is that separate?
Yes, the question was sometimes they print tickets for spouses or guests or other special events as part of their standard printing routine. Yes, Badge on Demand can handle that. We'll print tickets for any ticketed event, and if you have special stubs that need to be printed as part of a badge, we can build that right into your badge template and have that available for your show. The question is, do we do two-sided printing? The answer on that one is no. Basically, the fastest possible printer is to send it right out the chute. The stuff that's printed on the back here was done by just printing a second badge and folding it over. It's a cheap way of getting it done. Sir?
Do you have multiple templates if you have multiple badge stock?
The question is, can we have multiple templates if we have multiple badge stock? The current release of Badge on Demand supports one badge layout for a customer. We know that that's a requirement that we're going to release probably around the middle of the year to allow you to pick a template per conference.
Can you pre-print badges for everyone and then let you able to print an additional one?
Sure. The question was, can you pre-print all your badges en masse? Badge on Demand is meant for a real-time single badge print situation. We don't currently support mass badge printing. We expect you would go through your standard routine for that. Sir?
So for large group check-ins, is it going to print a barcode for every single person? So the person's going to have to be standing there going through with the 25. We check in groups as large as 50. With one person that we ask to come to our registration desk to check all 50 of their delegates in.
That is really nice of them to do that.
Yes, it is. Because it's our requirement. So.
Yep. One of our other systems for doing event registration and check-in does currently handle that entire company printing process. Badge on Demand is an individual process right now. I could see us drifting in that direction and including that feature in a later release. Today it does not. I will not lie to you, and I cannot commit to a timeline. Sir?
Sir, you might have already answered this, but can you prevent someone from printing a badge twice?
Absolutely. The question was, can I prevent somebody from printing a badge twice? Yes, absolutely. You wouldn't know how many pains I went through to make sure that I will never ever print a badge twice without you doing it yourself. The individual checking themselves in at ExpressPass can only ever print once, and sometimes not even once if we're feeling especially nasty. But you as the administrator can always do a badge reprint as many times as you like in the admin area or iWeb. Sam?
If you had paid completely for the registration, did you, like a check mark, stop with the printing the badge and a message on the screen so you can see on-site registration or something?
The question was, can we stop somebody from printing a badge if they have not completely paid for their registration? And the answer to that one is, unfortunately, sad trombone, no. That's an internal business rule that we're not covering. Basically, if there is a badge in the system, we're going to print it for them. So if in that situation, we've recommended our clients, they know right before their show opens who hasn't fulfilled their invoices yet, print their badges for them, then they can't self-check in. It's an effective workaround. I know, it's pretty devious. Who's got another one? I saw a couple other hands over here. No? There's one.
How about if you have different registration categories? So if you have a distributor, let's say a wholesaler, a one-day pass for Monday, one-day pass for Tuesday, can you accommodate that with badge?
The question was, how many different badge types can we accommodate? And it's as many as you care to set up in netFORUM. A badge is a badge to us, and we will render on it whatever you ask us to based on the data that's stored in netFORUM. We're not doing any real serious calculation or transformation of the data that we pull out. So it makes it a lot easier for us and a lot easier for you to manage. You don't have to go through us to get subsequent prints done for future shows. Yes, ma'am?
So for the name badge, the information on the name
far, though. We're talking about an area that's maybe 2 by 4 inches when you're trying to fit a lot of text on it. Some people are wildly optimistic about how much you can fit on there. And even when you do, it's really hard to read the smaller it gets. So, keep that in mind. You want readability above all else. So sometimes those things get tossed overboard in the process. But again, we can reach any field in netFORUM that we need to, and we can print it on the badge if that's what you'd like us to do. Yes,
If
ma'am?
something is incorrect on the badge and somebody goes and scans and pulls up their information, if we need to make a change, what do? They just come back around to us and then we go into the individual record of registration and change it right there?
Yes. The question was if the person goes to ExpressPass, prints their badge, it's clearly wrong. We advise them to step over to the registration desk. You'll go into iWeb right then and there, make the change to the record, hit that same print badge button, and we're done. Print off a new one for them, tear out the old one, and everybody.
So I just want to understand, the information is being pulled from the events side of the database, right? Not CRM.
That's correct,
Okay.
yes. It's primarily, almost entirely events-driven. Occasionally we'll have to stray out for certain clients, but yes. Sir?
The few times that I've used it, it's worked great. But if you have 1,000 registrants, whatever, how often do the printers jam or that type of thing?
Is that the same question you had?
No.
You're just going to answer it?
I was going to answer it for him.
Go right ahead.
We did a meeting. We did a meeting last year. We had about 12,000 attendees, and we put 5,000 people through these machines in like 45 minutes. It was unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. We didn't have any problems with jamming machines. We didn't have any plan. As long as you plan properly with regards to how many badges you have at each station or the stock, you'll be fine. So, and we were printing probably 6 tickets per registrant, not just 1 or 2 badges like we got here today or this week. We did up to 6 or 7 tickets per person, so never had an issue.
Well, better answer I could have come up with. I think I've only ever printed 2 jams in these printers in 3 years, so
I don't know.
pretty good.
Oh, you couldn't make that moment.
More questions? We can keep going if you'd like.
Can you say any field to be reached in netFORUM?
Yeah.
I can reach fields from CRM.
Yeah, I can go get them. Everything we do is via Expo, so as long as you give us a login to that, we can get anywhere around it. Especially enterprise web services are way, way better than the ones for Team and Pro. But given the interest in badge on demand, we have a lot of leverage with Vector right now to make the Team Pro web services better, which is great for everybody in this room. Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, you mentioned that you're going to come up with a template or different templates in the future. And are they all going to be 3 by 5 or 3 by 4? They're all going to be, all I'm asking, just to give you an idea of what other people are doing. We do an 8 by 11 that's perforated. The top is the badge, and on the back of the badge it says when the badge was printed, how many times it's been printed. When was last printed, how many times it's been printed. So we're capturing that. And then the bottom of the badge stock is a receipt, and sometimes tickets if they have that. So would that be something you might look at doing?
Probably not in the near future. We're pretty happy with both the speed and performance of the printers that we have right now. Because of that format, it works really well for us. We are talking, while you bring it up, about doing a receipt as part of any badge printing process, and there are people who really like that. We just haven't implemented it yet, but it's coming. Yes, ma'am.
I know that there's a difference between enterprise and Team and Pro and all that stuff, but
I try not to slag on it too
I
much.
know. But do you hope that when it integrates more, or when we can use it for Pro, that it will operate the same as an enterprise?
Yes, absolutely. Our intent is to deliver the same features and functionality for Team and Pro customers as we do for Enterprise today. I wouldn't roll it out if it wasn't feature complete and had parity with the Enterprise Edition because everybody's found everything in Enterprise to be absolutely necessary. We've certainly printed a lot of badges in our 30-plus years in business, and we've seen a lot. And Badge on Demand certainly would not be a moment for us to toss out all that knowledge.
So where would I see if they moved the badge?
Um,
When have you tried that?
Let's see. Actually, I'll go right into this show. And thanks, Joe, for letting me log into your backend here. So I'm in as an administrator in the back end of Badge on Demand itself. So when I tap on Joe's name here, we'll get perceptive. NetFORUM only tracks the date on which a badge was printed, not the number of times. We store the number of times that a badge has been printed, so we can give you a more accurate gauge as to how that works. Hopefully in a later release of NetFORUM, we're going to be able to write back every single time a badge was printed.
When is that expected?
I have no idea. That's in their hands, not mine. But we'll always track it, so you'll always know. It's not going to be a secret from our end.
So when you enter, are you adding an extender table that captures that information, or use information?
We're caching it on our side.
Okay.
Yeah, we store that because we need to know. And it's really kind of important information. Just knowing it was printed doesn't tell you how many times. Again, throwing out that useful institutional knowledge we've had over 30 years of doing registration services, that's an important number. So we'll work towards getting that baked into that form as well.
So maybe I missed your answer to or the second or what I thought was your question. Does it write back that they attended?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that flag is definitely set.
But when somebody registers, it's checked on the template automatically. So it's there by default, yeah.
By default. Right.
So it's not really.
It's not really
We're
worth
setting
it.
the badge print date.
Okay, badge print date. Thank
Yep.
you. So you're not really. There's not a real validated attendant. Because NetFORUM baseline automatically takes you as attended the minute you register.
That's right. Sorry.
Correct. So yeah, it's just by populating that date field.
Okay, got it.
All right, so there's one wrong answer. Hopefully it's still too much. Was there a hand tentatively going up over here? Just one is-
So date is the only thing to write back.
The date is the only thing we do right back on the rest of it, that's right. I think I might as well just click on it and jack that in 5. This is the experience you get as an administrator. We've got a quick preview of what that badge looks like before you can print it off, just to make sure that everything is correct. And again, just pull directly out of Sneem's NetFORUM installs.
To make an edit on that badge, what would you have to do? Go back to your,
I go into iWeb right here
into the
and
badge.
make the change, and then I can hit the badge on demand link here that will pop the same window. It should say 5 now if I did my job right. So a couple different ways to get the job done. This is where you can do everything. Our back-end admin is just strictly designed around reprints and missing badges. And then the front end of ExpressPass, quick scan it and be on the way.
That button just changed.
No, 2 different spots. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
On our badges, we use badge stock, and we put non-member and member, because we would like to identify non-member and member.
Sure.
So if I went up to the, machine and I clicked on my name, and I'm a member, how would the badge stock know?
The badge stock
Versus
itself would not know.
non-member versus member.
In that situation, I'd set up 2 different stations. One that had clearly identified we want your members to check in here, and non-members to check in there. The printer's only loading one set of stock at any time, so really the only way to do it is either channel people appropriately or have it printed directly on the badge itself rather than pre-printed.
Yeah, or we could set a member code. So here, if you look at the bottom right corner of your badges, you might have a code on there which tells what ribbons to put on the badge, or it might be a color code for red. Maybe you use a red badge holder, color strip holder for members, or we can just print member at the bottom. So really, this system is meant to have a single type of badge stock. You're not printing up, pre-printing 500 green and 500 red. It's just everyone has the same badge stock, and if you want people to be designated by different colors, you get different colored holders. And we would just print a code on the badge which color holder to put them in.
Are the printers color printers?
No, they're not.
No, they're not, so
No.
you can use that.
Very good point. No, our printers are not color printers. They're thermal printers, so it's either black ink on white or nothing. Yes, ma'am.
Some of our registrants sign up for a full conference, some sign up for just exhibits. How do we know?
I would print that directly on the badge itself. Sorry, her question was some of her registrants sign up for the full conference, some of them try to sign up for just exhibits. The answer to that is print that directly on the badge, and depending on that, whatever code or words you have on there, when somebody hands out the lanyard or the badge holder or the ribbons, whatever it is,
to us, and we just want to know what we need to do for, otherwise we're going to charge them money.
Right.
So we would just.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a legit question.
And we have signs too, we would say,
Yeah, yeah.
if there's a lien or.
But I would,
There should be the barcode.
excuse me?
There should be the barcode.
Actually, our barcodes are strictly numeric, so we're kind of stuck there.
We're just printing right on the back.
That's what I'm saying. Print right on the badge. It's your safest fallback.
You have a
That's
few
true.
options.
Yeah. So actually, now that Joe has piped up, I'm going to give him a quick intro and just welcome him right into this. Joe's with the Society of Naval Architects and Marine Engineers, and just recently flipped over to start using Badge on Demand, and not knowing just how well the experience went for him, but it sounds like it worked out. I'm going to put him on the spot. Joe, please talk about what your experience was.
About a year ago, we hired a new executive director where I work, and he was not happy with the registration process. What we were doing was we were taking flat files, sending them to a registration company, and they were printing the badge on site. So when our board members would come up to us and say, well, how many people are registered for the annual meeting? And we would look at them and say, we have no idea. We'll have to give you that information when we get back at the headquarters. And we would also get a lot of complaints that people were waiting online for a long time. And most of the people that waited online for a long time were high-level board members, and knew it was coming back to us. So my boss came to me and said, I need this fixed. So we went and called the veteran, and we asked them for a solution. And they pointed us in the direction of Expo Logic. We went to the city and we took a demo of the product, me and the events director. We took a demo of the product on site to see what the product will be able to do for us. Afterwards, we worked with a veteran to answer some of the questions where we had certain type of member registration types, and we told Expo Logic that when somebody registers for a full member registration, they get 5 tickets, and each ticket had the description of the function and where the function was being held. If it was a one-day registration, they didn't get everything. They just got a meal, one meal ticket and the type of registration they had. The lines were eliminated. We had people who were pre-registered. They would come up. They would go right to the pre-site registration. If they didn't have their confirmation with them, they would just put in the first couple initials of their last name, and that would print all their required tickets. As far as the printers jamming, we had about 1,000 badges printed and not one jam on site. The only problem we ran into is we ran out of stock. That was not a catastrophe. We had plenty of stock paper to regenerate and reprint badges as we were needed. In the past, we would have 5 temps on site to process. It was like Christmas time on New Year's Eve, on Christmas Eve, where everybody would run and there would be 1 or 2 registers open, and it was a disaster. Now, on site, there was no lines on site. Everybody who was pre-registered just went right to the desk, and it worked just like Expo Logic said it was going to work. And afterwards, my company's engineers, and I guarantee there's nothing you can do right if you're working with engineers. They came up to us and they said, this was a home run. You guys really, whatever it was worth, whatever the investigation, my boss came up to me and said, we're going to use it again for 2012 because this is a no-brainer.
How did you determine how many printers you need for a particular conference?
We went by what Expo Logic told us. We had about 1,000
right there, still attached, so you really can't walk away without it. Yes, ma'am, sorry.
We offer like on-site registration, where they come up and they pay and everything else. So how would that work with badge on demand? Will we have to print the badges after they registered with us? Is that how it would work? Because I'm thinking about how, if you have two different systems on print badges.
Sure. Are you keying in the registration information manually, or is that something they're doing on a screen somewhere else and paying online?
We hope that they would start trying to do all that stuff beforehand, but
Sure.
we have run into cases, we have at least about 100 people to register on site, never fails. And so we have these long lines because a lot of them are not even in our database, so then we would have to put them in. And so we're trying to figure out a way to streamline that process where they won't have to wait in that line.
What are you using for registration software right now?
Well, we used a Vectra this last year.
So it's straight through eWeb?
Right.
If you can put more machines out and make them self-register right there on site, their data will be in netFORUM, and they can go to ExpressPass and print the badge right away.
Can I just speak up real quick?
Sure. This is Jeff, he's the CEO. Now, see, take a seat.
Guys, to that point, what you can do, you can register individuals in iWeb directly, and that, remember that print badge button is in iWeb. So you hit that print button, and it pops up that print window just like that. So that's from iWeb, and you're printing that badge out to the thermal printer. You don't need to then enter it, like create a badge in Microsoft Word, or we are eliminating the need to do queries and spreadsheets and mail merges. I know you all waste your time doing that. So the point is to either, if people have registered in advance, they would go up to the ExpressPass station. If they're registering on site, you can process them in iWeb, or you can create self-service stations using eWeb, and at the end of that process in eWeb, we can have the badge print out directly. So it can be a combination of the two. Also, one thing that can slow down the process in iWeb is the payment, right? And keying in the credit card information. So we can help give you the ability to swipe a credit card directly into iWeb. It'll populate the payment fields, and you can process it. So that alone will cut a lot of time. I know AIAA is doing that. Navy did that, swiping credit cards directly into iWeb. Yeah. Sure. So I show. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I had a question for Joe. Did you have special events that are in the meeting, and sometimes they don't pay for those or don't even want to attend until they get there on site. So did you have do you have something like that? Did you have an area where people could just buy different products while they were there?
They could buy banquet tickets or lunch
Right.
tickets. Yeah, they
Okay.
can buy them on site, and then they
Okay.
would just print that individual ticket for them to attend
So
that.
how did you do that? How did you?
It was considered, in netFORUM, it was an option. So we sold that option as just a ticket, and then that ticket would print whatever we told.
So they
people
came to
like.
that particular station to buy?
They would come to the registration desk,
Okay.
and then we would enter their name and whatever ticket that meal or whatever they wanted.
Okay.
The only thing we sold were really meal tickets.
Okay. And
But
that's
that usually came with the package. But sometimes it was a spouse or a guest.
Oh, yeah, right. And that's when you were swiping the card and stuff, when you take a payment? Okay.
So here's an example of what pops up when you try to print someone's badge who actually has tickets or sessions associated with them. We'll show you the number of times each ticket has been printed as well. If you need to reprint it, this drop-down will only include the number of tickets that they've purchased. So if they purchase 2, you can print 2 all over again, or just print 1 of them. Your pick.
So in other words, if someone ordered 3 lunch tickets for the same lunch, it would just list the lunch ticket once, but the quantity would be 3. So you can choose, maybe they lost 1 of the 3. You can just choose to print 1 of the 3. You don't have to print out everything.
So,
And you have a scanner that you use to order that lunch in to make sure
Because- yeah,
that
because-
it's not the second time someone's coming to with the same ticket.
Well, if you have a ticket, at that point you'd be collecting the ticket too. In order to get the door,
Oh, okay, so
you need a
now
ticket.
you need the scan, you don't have a scanner, you need the tickets, that barcode on it to make sure they have to come through with the same ticket.
Well, we would collect. Because you're saying if they say they've lost their ticket, they ask for a new No, it's not. I mean, we can. You can certainly do that. We haven't done it like that, but there's no reason why you couldn't. If you detect that badge number has been scanned already, you can say I'm sorry. So, I mean, that brings up a good point though, because you can think about your process. If you're barcoding the tickets, the badges are barcoded. Are you going to collect the tickets at the door, and that's what gets them in? Are you going to record the attendance by scanning the ticket or the badge? Do you care about the name on the ticket or the name of the person walking in the door? I'm more in favor of scanning the person's badge. I don't care whose ticket they're using. I want to know who's in the room. And we can if you want that data back in the netFORUM, we have imports that we can do for you to update the record for session attendance as well. So, I'm a fan of barcoding everything. So whether it's the ticket, badge, any email you send out, barcode it. They could bring the wrong email, but if it's got their barcode on it and they scan that, their badge will print. If any of you guys do member cards for your members that are barcoded, they can come up, scan that, and if they're registered for that event that they're scanning their membership card, their badge will print, so they don't even need their registration confirmation. Because that barcode could be, we can make the number that's rendered in the barcode their customer ID within that forum, as opposed to their registered ID.
We track like CPE, continuing education, and we have to kind of prove that they attended. Can this work the same way?
Absolutely. Either rents a ticket, we'll collect it, or when they come to the door, use one of these little guys to scan the barcode, and then upload that after the fact. We just put that right back in that form. Boom, you've got all your CPE credits tracked. We also have services and software that allow them to go in the self-service portal and print out any certificates and things that they might need as a result too. Sure.
With the lead key, if we were to send the lead key and then say we pre-printed the badges out to a site, if we do some trainings in Guam, they can scan them, as she's saying, for their seat time for their CEUs. And so we would program it in-house for their lead key, but they would just keep the key in the field. So we would update it for, say the training that's happening next week, and then they would scan those registrants in for next week, and it would upload back to a veteran.
Yeah, so if you have if they have the lead keys in Guam, and as long as they can, we would give them a piece of software to install on a local computer. They plug the lead key in, and it would push the data back out and get that back into the
Whole process that uploaded to that form. We just need to get off the device first.
If you had a badge and you had that jammed and transfer, would it still count the number?
Yep.
Or we could reset it or something?
Yeah, we're just reprinting from the admin. You have reprintability.
Twice.
Yeah, so the Express Pass interface will not allow you to reprint a badge. However, we would give you, as the admin, a special barcode which allows you to bypass that. So if you're out front helping people with the Express Pass stations and you don't want to run around the counter or send them somewhere else to reprint their badge, you can scan your admin barcode. It puts it into this admin mode and gives you like a red border so you know you're in this admin mode. Scan their Express Pass again, their badge will print, and then you just take it out of admin mode by scanning your barcode again. So we kind of learn those tricks as we go along. So they help out.
E-barcodes are paychecks too.
That's right. You don't need to know why.
We have over 1,000 exhibitors that are at our meeting that are technically comped, and they actually don't have profiles in netFORUM. We don't maintain those. They don't log in because the turnover is so great before the annual meeting that they send different marketing people, whatever the case may be. What do you recommend to handle those instances where we don't maintain the comp registrations for exhibitors in netFORUM? We actually do it, and we collect the information another way because we don't collect all their contact information and normal profile information. We don't collect all that. What do you guys do in those instances?
Well, merge. Go way. I'll tell you,
the way another group is doing it, please don't say no merge. The way another group is doing it is they've actually created some extender fields just to hold this temporary badge information. They don't want to create the profile, and we're actually going out to those custom fields and rendering the badge that way. That's more of an enterprise type thing than a Team Pro. But so every time we think we've seen everything, we see something new. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as they are registered, they have a registration, whether it came through is that right? Yeah, as long as they're registered, we'll grab that badge. We'll grab the badge data. Keep in mind that any of the rules, all the logic should be within netFORUM. We're just going out and grabbing everything that an individual registered for. Their badge, their tickets. Our system is not deciding how many badges or tickets to print. It's netFORUM telling us how many badges and tickets to print.
One of the nice features that we also implemented was if somebody was getting a ribbon, you're able to go in there, add the ribbon. So on the ticket, it would say, go pick up your ribbon at the ribbon desk, which worked very well for us.
We set up self-service stations this year and they refused to use them. So we had 6 completely empty self-service stations and we had 500 people online. Any ideas on?
Give it a couple cycles.
Yeah.
I see that line.
I got staff
They'll change their
standing with them next to them and the self-service station encouraging them to add.
Yeah, I think the key, and really the success to the Express Pass here for this event is the communication in advance. Drill it and make it really simple in advance. Most people showed up with their barcodes, whether it was printed or on their phones, way more than using the lookup. So it's just communication. And they'll see people moving quickly. Really, what's important is if you have a lot of materials to hand out for your conference, bags and books, and that's going to be the jam. We've had to shut down Express Pass stations to slow down the line at the material pickup desk. So it's a good idea to kind of separate that so you don't create a bottleneck and make sure that area is staffed appropriately because the machines are going to be working faster than the rest of us.
I have a question again about the ribbons.
Yes.
Because we do have a lot of board members that are board members, they're on regional vice presidents, and sometimes they have 3 or 4 ribbons. I'm afraid that if you're going to print too many things on the badge, it's going to get cluttered. You want them to pick up the ribbons. How do you
Well, with Snavy, we printed all the ribbon codes on a second sheet of badge stock. So the badge stayed pristine. The second one was the one that had all the ribbon listings on it.
Okay.
You don't need it.
So then pick off your ribbon. Okay, go to the desk.
That's right.
For the, just want to also mention that some of our badge on demand customers, the first couple events, they wanted us on site with them, so they felt comfortable with the process, and we trained them how to unpack the equipment, set it up, troubleshoot, pack it back up, and then after 1 or 2 events, they felt comfortable with that process, and then it became, hey, we need 3 Express Pass stations in St. Louis on these dates, and they just run it themselves. Never hear anything. The equipment comes back to our office, and all went well. It's great. Some of our customers purchased the Express Pass equipment and badge printers. They basically come up with how much equipment they need for their average event throughout the year, and if they have a larger event, they'll rent from us to supplement that. So they keep in-house inventory to get through most of their events. So you can do it either way.
Including credit cards
For credit card swipe? Yeah, so that we can provide that. We absolutely provide that equipment as well. Yeah. And lead retrieval equipment as well. Sometimes we're on site managing lead retrieval. Other shows, we just send the lead retrieval equipment to the client and they distribute to the exhibitors. Some make it part of their booth package as a value add. So several different scenarios.
customer service or support line or meeting?
Yep. Yep, we're not working out of the basement. So we have customer service support. We know this business. I mean, we're all like doctors, right? Our phones are going off all the time. So I think hopefully Joe and I think there's some other clients here will test that we're responsive to that. We know the pressure. I mean, we're also a full service registration company, so we're doing shows with tens of thousands of people. We know what it's like to have thousands of people in front of us and being able to move them quickly. So.
Surprised no one asked the obvious question yet, unless you've all come to our booth and got the answer already. Thank you. No, don't fear that. Those of you who are using Team and Pro, please cover your ears right now. Enterprise customers, the fee is $6,500 a year for the badge on demand service. That is just baseline. Beyond that would be equipment rentals or purchase that you might need and badge stock for on-site staffing. Those of you who are using Team, all right, now enterprise customers, close your ears. Team and Pro, we anticipate going live with you guys again on or around April 1st, and the fee for that is $1,200 per year. As many shows as you want, as many badges as you want to print. That's good for everybody, by the way. Again, exclusive of equipment and staffing fees to go along with it.
Right. So we give you a rate sheet for the equipment, for staff, for badge stock, badge holders, if you want to order badge holders through us. So it'll be very simple for you guys to budget for each event. You'll know exactly what you're getting into.
It just works. And for $6,500, I think it's worth it. Now, we have a couple sheets up here up front, one explaining badge on demand, the other one's a pricing sheet. So if you'd like to get that now, you can grab it here or visit us at our booth in the exhibit hall, where we're all going to have a wonderful reception brought to you by Expo tonight. I'll still be here for a few minutes if you want to ask a one-on-one question. You were too shy. Thank you, Joe, for speaking today, and thank you for
Sponsoring the education.